guys, what is going on? Blossom is back, and welcome back to another episode of Top Drives and another episode of What Can You Get From That Pack. Today's pack in question is indeed the Italian rear-wheel drive Pagani, Maserati, Lancia carbon fiber, which is the carbon fiber that you need to open to get you the Escudo Pikes Peak, or at least to give you a shot in winning the Pikes Peak for the Escudo, for the Suzuki. Really long name. But anyway, it's the pack you need to open for the finals, and today I'm going to be reviewing it in two different categories, as I always do on this series. The first one is going to be how useful the cars are going to be from the pack in terms of a solely final standpoint. So how useful is each car going to be in the finals and in the finals only? Then after this, I will show you a second tier list where I judge the cars in a general sense. How useful are they going to be if you want to open the pack just for fun? Maybe you don't have a chance of getting the Escudo, but you want to open the pack because you think it's a good pack. How useful are those cars going to be? Now, I will tell you right now that this is one of the better Tri-Series final carbon fibers. There are a lot of bangers in this, and we'll get to that in the second part of the video. First part of the video is going to be how useful the cars are in the final, and over here, as you can see, we have different ranks: prize car winning, possible prize car winning, not enough by themselves, no chance, and of course, go see a doctor, which is basically hot garbage. Now, this is a pretty interesting final. In fact, it's a very creative final, very fun final. It reminds me of the one from the Koenigsegg Chimera, where the RQ limit is a lot smaller than usual Tri-Series finals, where people would have to get creative to adapt to the RQ and use RQ savers such as the Maserati Royale or the Maserati Grand Spider or Spider Grand Sport, or even the Maserati Quattroporte, which is in the possible prize car winning category. Now, I will say that because there is an RQ squeeze in this, it is a bit controversial on what the actual best hand is going to be, so I will explain that last. Let me talk about the bottom tiers first before we get to the top, because those are really straightforward. So go see a doctor are basically the worst of the worst. These cars are going to get you no value in the final, so if you're running them, I'm very sorry, you're not going to win the Escudo Pikes Peak. Perhaps you might get by with the 3200 GT, but I'll get to that later. For now, I'm going to put it in go see a doctor, because it feels wrong to put this and the Spider Grand Sport in prize car winning. So I'll put it in go see a doctor for now. And then we have no chance. Okay, so no chance is going to be the Ultras that are actually pretty decent by themselves, but they're still like down the pecking order, but they're not the absolute worst. Still not a good tier to be in. You have no chance at winning the Escudo if you are winning the Coupe or the Grand Cabrio. And then we have not enough by themselves. Now, this is a huge one. The Pagani Zonda C12, okay, the RQ77. It has 100 MRA, 88 handling, it's light, and it has a high top speed and ABS at the same time, but it isn't enough by itself. It kind of shows you how high the level this final is going to be. Now, I've seen a lot of hands already that are in the finals, and a lot of them are running the same thing. They're running about, or at least a lot of the best hands are running about the same thing. They're running 4 high-end legendaries and the super rare Maserati Royale. That seems to be the blueprint to run with, and that's why I said it's very similar to the Koenigsegg Chimera finals, where people are running 4 really high-end legendaries and then, you know, capping it off with a Mazda MX-5. The problem was, the difference of that final and this final is that the MX-5 was actually a really good car. You could actually get really good value out of this. The Maserati Royale, it's a different case. It's actually a really crappy car. The only reason why people use it is because it has standard tires, and sometimes because you really don't have any RQ and there are not a lot of super rares to use in this category. It's a whole thing. It's a little different, but we'll get to that in a bit. So none of that by themselves. The Pagani Zonda C12, an amazing epic, really good car in the game, but when it comes to this final, it's not going to get you a lot of value. I'm very sorry to tell you that, but this is a legendary heavy final. Maybe if you are in the European brackets, you can get by the Zonda C12, but you know, I don't play in the kiddie pool, like you know, I'm in the NA brackets or even the Asia brackets. I heard that the Asian brackets are actually even harder than the American brackets. Either way, American brackets and Asian brackets, we can shake hands because we can laugh at you guys in the EU brackets, because you have it so freaking easy over there. I've seen the hands, man. I've seen the hands and it pissed me off. You're winning with absolute hot garbage, and yeah, whatever. It's a rant. I'm not gonna get into it today. But other cars that aren't been up by themselves: the Lancia New Stratas, the Maserati Quattroporte GTS, the Lancia Auto 87 Rally, and the Maserati Grand Cabrio MC. Now, one thing I just want to address one thing. Okay, I know that they're hard brackets. Well, actually, there's a hard bracket in EU. What I'm trying to say is that when it comes to EU brackets, there's like one super hard bracket, and then every other bracket is super easy. But for NA and Asia is different. All the brackets are super hard, and then there's one bracket that's super easy. It's like the other way around. You know what I mean? So it's, I don't know, man. The amount of times where I've had to like 2-star and 3-star max legendaries to win a prize card, and I just see someone from EU be like, I wanted it with a 1-star legendary. I'm just like, hey, just shut up, please. But anyway. Possible prize car winning. Now we get to the controversial stuff, okay? So possible prize car winning, we have some really good cars. We have the cars like the Pagani's on the S7.3, the Pagani's on the F, the Pagani's on the Cinque Roadster, the Pagani's on the Maserati Gran Turismo, the Turismo MC Stradale. Why are they all named the same? And the Maserati Quattroporte. Now, I thought that this Maserati Quattroporte was going to be really useful, but really, it's a fantastic car for like the wet car park track set, but that's one of the 4 track sets that you get in the final. If they did something like, oh, rain slalom, rain G-force, rain car park, then the Maserati Quattroporte would be a, you know, prize car winning, but it isn't. There's like Monaco City streets in the wet. Like the Maserati Quattroporte, don't forget, I know it has standard tires, but let's not forget that rear-wheel drive standard tires is basically useless. You can just use a performance tire car with really good stats and it would smoke the rear-wheel drive performance tire, standard tire car any day. That's why like 4-wheel drive standard tires are so useful, but rear-wheel drive standard tires are absolutely garbage. Unless they are really good in a particular niche, like the Caterham or the Maybach Landaulet. I've talked about those a million times. And then the most controversial part, the prize car winning category. Now, a lot of caveats for me to decide these top 7, okay? So here's why. First of all, big if, this is the best prize car winning hand in my opinion if you couldn't run duplicates. If you couldn't run duplicates and you had one of each car from this pack, which, you know, you'd be really lucky to, this would be the best hand. The Pagani's on the R, the Pagani Huayra Roadster, the Lancia Monte Carlo Turbo, the Pagani's on the S, and the Maserati Royale. I think that would be the best. Or the Maserati Spider Grand Sport. The problem is, right, if you have no duplicates, if you run the Zonda, the Huayra, the Monte Carlo, and the Zonda S, you wouldn't have enough RQ to run the Maserati Quattroporte. And like I said, the Maserati Quattroporte is only the best on the car park wet, and it's going to be the same for the Maserati Royale. So if you are running these 4 cars, no duplicates, then the best filler car to use would either be the Maserati Spider Grand Sport or the Maserati 3200 GT. But this one isn't go see a doctor because it is in the wet and you want the car that just handles a little bit better, and that's why I went for the 56. At the end of the day, whether you're using the Spider Grand Sport and the 3200 isn't really going to matter, because this filler car, either whether it be the Spider or the Quattroporte or the Maserati Royale, those are going to be your lose conditions or your draw conditions. That is just your RQ filler. It's not going to win you stuff. Don't rely on it. It's just the best of the worst options, if that makes sense, okay? So why is the Royale here? If you run these 4 cars specifically, no duplicates, then you would have enough RQ to fit the Grand Sport in your prize car winning hand. But I've seen a lot of, you know, top hands in the US brackets. They run a lot of duplicates. I've seen people run 3 Huayra Roadsters, or maybe 2 Pagani's on the R's and 2 Pagani Huayra Roadsters, or maybe 2 Pagani's on the R's, 1 Monte Carlo, 1's on the F, or maybe even like 2 Pagani Huayras, which is the one from 2016, and then maybe one's on the R. Like at that point, you are using even more RQ than, you know, what it would take to use only these 4 cars at the top, and then you wouldn't even be able to use the Maserati Spider Grand Sport anymore. So you would have less RQ for your filler car, and I see a lot of people run the Maserati Royale. So a really popular option that I see if you can run duplicates would be, you know, multiple of the Zonda R or multiple of the Huayra Roadster, and then they'll fill it in with the Royale. But if it was only in a situation where there were no duplicates, I would say that the best hand would be the Zonda R, the Huayra Roadster, the Monte Carlo, the Zonda S, and then the Maserati Spider Grand Sport, because you're left off with 57 RQ after you use these 4 cars, or 58 RQ, and the Quattroporte is 59. That's an outdated picture. I know it's 58 in the screen, but it's 59 in game, okay? And last but not least, the main question, or not the main question, one of the main questions I also want to answer is Blossom. Why am I choosing the Pagani's on the S over the Pagani's on the S7.3? The S7.3 is 1 RQ, you know, more, so it should be the better car, okay? Yeah, and technically it is, because it has traction control, it has ABS. When it comes to anything in the drag, the Pagani's on the S7.3 is going to be better than the RQ83's on the S. If it's a 1 mile, 0 to 150 to 0, I mean, if they don't tie, then the Zonda S is 7.3. Overall, the Zonda S7.3 is the better car compared to the Zonda S. So you might be thinking, Blossom, you're out of your mind, then why did you choose the S over this S7.3? I thought this through, okay? Because I have a spreadsheet. Once again, shout out to Kevin for making the spreadsheet. It has all of the times of all of these cars that people own in the finals, so we can use it to have an easy time with the finals. We know what beats what. And if you want access to the spreadsheet, the link will be in the description below. I mean, well, not really. I mean, technically, yes, because the spreadsheet is found on my Discord server, and the link to my Discord server is in my Patreon, and the link to my Patreon is in the description below, so you can get it if you want. But the Pagani's on the S. Why is it higher? It's because, although that the S7.3 is the better car on the drags, and it would draw on most of the twisty tier track sets, the Pagani Zonda S is better than the Pagani Zonda S 7.3 on the G-Force. Okay, just remember that. It's better on the G-Force. Now remember this information. Now we're going to look at the track sets for the final. Okay, and we're back. Now look at the track sets of the final. Okay, we have 4 track sets. The first one over here, we have a 75 to 125, 0 to 150 to 0. This is where you want to put your drag heavy cars on, like the Lancia Beta Monte Carlo or even the Pagani Huayra Roadster. The Pagani Huayra Roadster has 100 MRA. The Lancia Beta Monte Carlo has like 102, 105. The Pagani Zonda R is not going to be your dragster. It's going to be more of a twisty car that you can put on the slalom or even the G-Force. But you want to put it on the slalom because the G-Force is going to be reserved for something else. Yeah, that's the first one. So remember, that's one G-Force so far. Second one is going to be, mountain slalom. G-Force 30 to 130, Monaco G-Force Test, and Monaco Streets. Once again, you want to run your Pagani Zonda R if you have one, maybe on the Monaco G-Force or the mountain slalom. You want to use your dragster, whether it be the Beta Monte Carlo or the Huayra Roadster on the 30 to 130. And look at that! Oh no, it's another G-Force. Okay, G-Force test. And then we have round 3. Oh, look at that! What's that race in the middle? Another G-Force test. We also have a 1 mile that is going to be for a Pagani Huayra Roadster, and your Zonda R. You have a fast circuit. Now the fast circuit the Zonda R will be really good on, and then the twisty circuit is going to be for your filler car. Basically anything that is in the wet is made for whatever your filler car is going to be, whether it be the Quattroporte, the Maserati Royale, or the Gran Cabrio, whatever you want to choose. My filler car is going to be the Gran Turismo. It would be the Gran Turismo Stradale if I had more RQ, but I don't. And then last but not least, the final track set, fast circuit, 1 mile. Guess what? It's another G-Force, twisty circuit and fast circuit, which means that no matter what track set you get, there's a 100% chance that you're going to get a G-Force. And who is better on the G-Force, the Pagani Zonda S or the Pagani Zonda S 7.3? Boom! That's why I'm using the Pagani Zonda S in the top tier and the 7S and the S 7.3 is in the second highest tier. Does that make sense? Alright, let's get back to the tier list. So yeah, I hope that made sense. Another reason why the F and the Huayra are just lower down the list is because the Pagani Huayra has 96 MRA compared to the Huayra Roadster's 100. So the Huayra Roadster is going to be your best dragster for this event. The Pagani Zonda R is going to be like your best twisty boy. So if you run 2 of those, then you don't even need to run the Zonda S. But like I said, this situation that I'm showing you right here is the best possible hand if you're not running any duplicates, okay? So yeah, the Zonda R is really freaking good, but it has 87 MRA, so do not put that on the drag. And the Pagani Huayra, I mean, honestly, like these two are the best. If you have 2 Zonda R's and 2 Pagani Huayra Roadsters, just put in a 5th car that whatever it is and just make it fit, and you'll be golden. You would have the Escudo Pikes Peak, but most people don't have 2 of each. So anyway, that is my summary of this is a pretty long summary of the finals. Anyway, let's get to the other tier list where I just judge the cars in a general sense and how useful they are if you want to open the pack. You have no chance of the prize car, but you just want to open the pack to get some cars that will help you in a everyday scenario like multiplayer, single player, Yellowbird. So let's get to the other tier list. Okay, here we go. This is the one that you all know: Der Kaiser, Daily Driver, Random Rider, Pernicious Ulcer, Hog Garbage. I don't want this video to be too long, so we're gonna get straight to the point. Hog Garbage is the Maserati Royale. It is a very niche situation where this thing is actually useful. And remember, I'm only putting it in the highest tier for winning you the Escudo, not because it's actually gonna win you anything. It's only because it fits in the RQ requirement and it beats other super rares, and there are only about like 5 super rares that you can use anyway. So let's go next to the Lancia 037 Rally, 100% Der Kaiser, one of the best, if not the best ultra rare in the game. So yeah, that's Der Kaiser straight up. Maserati Coupe Grand Sport is gonna go on Random Ride, and I'm gonna move up. I'm moving on to Daily Driver for now. 3200 GT Assetto Corsa, I'm gonna move it to Random Rider. Ghibli is gonna go to Hog Garbage. Ghibli Cup, Hog Garbage. Grand Cabrio is gonna be Pernicious Ulcer. Grand Cabrio MC is gonna be Daily Driver. Gran Turismo is gonna be Daily Driver. Quattroporte is gonna be Random Rider. Maserati Quattroporte is gonna be Hog Garbage. The Quattroporte Sport GTS is gonna be Daily Driver. The Shamal is gonna be, I'm going through this super quickly, Hog Garbage. The Spider Grand Sport is going to be Pernicious Ulcer. The Tipo Birdcage is going to be Pernicious Ulcer. And we'll stop right there. Alright, so if I want to change anything, what would I change? I would probably... Ooh, would I change anything at all? I don't think so. Look, the thing is, maybe I'll move the Grand Cabrio MC down 1. I'll move the Grand Cabrio MC and the Coupe Grand Sport down 1. I'll move those 2 down. I'll keep this one up because you're medium. I'll keep this up because it's the best Maserati Ultra, and it's actually a pretty good 64 at the same time. So those 2 stay in Daily Driver. I think the only controversial point over here that I need to address is where I put the Maserati Tipo 61 Birdcage. The Maserati Tipo 61 Birdcage, how do I feel about this car? It's one of those cars where it's like the Bentley Brooklyns, where a lot of people tell you oh, Blossom, but it's actually good. Oh, Blossom, it's actually good. And they would tell other people on other servers, oh yeah, this car is actually pretty decent. Like, have you seen it on the slalom, the MRA, the top speed is pretty high. The thing about the Tipo 61 Birdcage is that it's trying to be a jack of all trades, master of none, but it's honestly not even good at any. It's not even a master of none. It's not even good at any. You know what I mean? It's like jack of all trades, good at nothing. It's not that good. It's an overrated car, much like the Bentley Brooklyns. Yeah, like I always say, for the Bentley Brooklyns, right? People always say, oh, the Bentley Brooklyns, you know, amazing MRA. It's a great dragster with medium ground clearance. Well, then I'll just argue. I'll just be like, hey, use the Dodge Daytona instead. It's got better MRA. It's also medium, and it has a lower 0 to 60. And it's the same thing for the Maserati Tipo Birdcage. What can you argue about this car? I mean, you have to really narrow down the situations for this car to actually be useful. Even if you went pre-60s, just 1950s cars, it's just a worse version of the Aston Martin DB3S, which came out 6 years before. It's a better dragster, it's a better twisty car, it is light, it has about the same, if not slightly better MRA. The DB3S is just a better car. The Birdcage is kind of worthless, to be completely honest with you. So I think that, yeah, it is highly overrated within the community. I don't think the Birdcage is actually that good. Now, I know it might be pretty decent on the slalom, but hey, you're not gonna beat a Lotus, are you? No, you're not. Or a Caterham. No, you're not. So, yeah, unfortunately, not a great car in my opinion. I think it's overrated. You can argue down in the comments below if you want to. Next up is the Lancia Stratos HF. We're going to move on to Epics now. Lancia Stratos is absolutely hot garbage. It is basically just getting slapped to hell by the Lancia 037 Rally in every way, shape, and form. It's just a better car. The Lancia 037 is also medium. It has a lower 0 to 60. It handles even better. The top speed is almost identical. It's just night and day. Like, putting these two cars together, if you are a completely new player, you can already see the balancing issues when it comes to Hutch and the cars that they have. I mean, how? How is one Epic and one is Ultra? It makes no sense at all. So we'll move that down. The Maserati Gran Turismo Stradale, I'm going to put it at random rider for now, just because it handles alright for an RQ68 car. It has a relatively low 0 to 60, but the MRA isn't that good. I think it's like 75. It's not strong. And the Quadruporta GDS is going to go under Pernicious Ulcer. The Pagani Zonda C12, I'm going to move it up to Der Kaiser. Like I said, I felt a bit sad putting it in one of the lowest tiers, or just like a mid-average tier for the other tier list, judging the cars in the final sense. But because this car is actually really good. Like I said, it has 100 MRA. It's light, coming in 1,250 kilograms. It handles well, and it has a high top speed. So it is a really good car. I put it in Der Kaiser. Lancia Monte Carlo is going to be Der Kaiser as well. Really good MRA, lightweight boy that handles pretty well. The only bad thing about the Monte Carlo is I would say that the 0 to 60 is pretty underwhelming for an 86 RQ car. Top speed could be higher as well. I wish it was 200. I think that's like the bare minimum for a motorsport car like this. But besides that, the MRA is good, the handling is good, and it's really light, coming in I think 770 kilograms if I remember that correctly. Lancia's new Strata is going to go under Daily Driver. I mean, it's a decent car with decent stats for 82 RQ. It handles really well, but low 0 to 60, but the MRA isn't too good. It's not bad either. It's 85. It's just it's a nice little hybrid car, but it's not a bad hybrid car like the Birdcage. And then with the Pagani Huayra, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, every other car that you see here is Der Kaiser. You cannot go wrong with Paganis, dude. They are amazing. They handle incredibly well, and they're usually combined with really good MRA. I mean, let's just work up the list. Pagani Zonda S, 107.94 MRA. Pagani Zonda S7.3, exactly the same, 107.94. Pagani Zonda F, 99.95. Zonda Cinque Roadster, one of my dream cars, honestly, 98.51 MRA, which is mid-range acceleration. I mean, you should know this by now. Pagani Huayra, 96.67. Here's the thing, here's the funny thing. When it comes to context in the Escudo finals, the Pagani Huayra is seen as a car with no MRA. It has 96.67 MRA. It's not bad at all, but the thing is, it's 10 worse, 11 actually worse MRA compared to the Zonda S7.3 and the Zonda S. And here's the thing, the Zonda S and the S7.3 beats the Pagani Huayra on the 1 mile. So that's insane. But yeah, they all have really good MRA. The Pagani Huayra is seen as a car with no MRA, but it has 96. Crazy stuff. Amazing handling as well, and a really high top speed. Then with the Pagani Huayra Roadster, which has 100 MRA, and then the worst MRA of the bunch is the Pagani Zonda R, the only Pagani to have an MRA of under 96, for crying out loud. But it really doesn't matter because it's very light, coming in at 1,070 kilograms. It has 2.640 to 60, and it is the best handling Pagani of the bunch, coming in at 95. So all of these Paganis you see over here handle really well, and they have really good MRA. And then the Pagani Zonda R doesn't have the MRA, but it handles even better, and it has the lowest 0 to 60 of the bunch, and it is the lightest of the Pagani collection as well. So really insane stuff. You cannot go wrong with Paganis. They're all going to be Der Kaiser in my opinion. But yeah, I would say that overall, this is actually a pretty decent pack. You can make an argument to move the Grand Cabrio and the Grand Sport up one more, just mainly because the Grand Cabrio has that convertible niche and is actually one of the better convertible ultra rares in the game, if not one of the best, only behind the BMW M6. And then you have the Maserati Coupe Grand Sport, which actually has really good all-around stats for a mid-range ultra at RQ58. So honestly, I'm gonna move them back up to daily driver. Maybe that's a little bit too high for some people, and I'll understand if it is a little bit too high, but I will put it here for now. I'll put the legendary here where it belongs, so it's just in, you know, ascending order. But yeah, that, or descending order, because we're going from high to low. But yeah, that's gonna be it. It's a good pack. I mean, there is a lot of hot garbage stuff as well, but if you get yourself a legendary, you're getting something good. I will tell you that straight up. If you get yourself a legendary, you're gonna get yourself something good. There's also a chance of getting one of the best ultras in the game in the Lancia 037 Rally, and there's some decent ultras to get at the same time. But the epics are the weaker part, I would say. Obviously, one epic is hot garbage, one epic is pernicious ulcer, and there's only four that you can get. Sorry. The third one is a random rider, and then only the last one, the C12, is Der Kaiser. So when it comes to epics, it's a 1 in 25 chance you're actually gonna get something really useful. But when it comes to legendaries, it's a 100% chance that you're gonna get something that is really, really good. These are legendaries that, like, I would happily upgrade. I mean, I have a Zonda S Max. A lot of players I know have the Zonda R Max and the Zonda S 7.3. I mean, Wyatt has this one Max. I have this one Max. Pops has the 7.3 Max. Mbong has the 7.3 Max. Uncle has the Zonda R Max. I know Victory has the Huayra Roadster Max. Paganis, you can't go wrong with them. But anyway, guys, are you going to open them? Let me know down in the comments below. I'll give you my verdict right now. Should you open them? If you are an Italian collector or you just want a good legendary, whether it be a high RQ legendary or a low RQ legendary, Paganis don't disappoint. So yeah, go open the pack. Why not? And if you don't get a legendary, then I wish you good luck, and I hope you get a Lancia 037, which is probably going to be epic in the future. So, you know, that's a free epic that you can get over there. But anyway, this is a really good pack in my opinion. I mean, it feels like a high risk, high reward kind of situation because it's a lot of hot garbage, but I would say that the high risk outweighs the high reward in this regard. I would condone opening this. If you want to go for it, I'd say go for it. I've already opened one, and I might even open more. I don't know. I want to stay above 50,000 gold. I'll have to think about it. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it for today. Remember to stay safe, wash your hands, and blossom out. Peace!
Bro, this song just makes me so happy.
Me too.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly. Got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Sit back, relax in my Bonneville Pontiac. Hold tight all night, cruise to Jacksonville
Atlantic.
Blonde hair, don't care, look like Leslie Brooks. Pin up girls everywhere with the drop dead look. Swing it side to side as we slow dance to the night. When I hold your perfect